This is Death or Prison, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org. The men you are about to hear have spent more than 50 years in prison. We bring you stories of hope and encouragement.
Hello and welcome to the Death or Prison podcast, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org. I am Johnny Branham. To my right, Mr. Elmo Golden. To my left, Anthony Smith. We're continuing a conversation in regards to Anthony Smith's life and conversion.
Anthony was arrested for a crime that he didn't commit. I could never believe that I would be sitting in the jailhouse for a crime I didn't commit. How did you feel about that?
Man, I was blown. I felt like, okay, I ain't do nothing this time, And then when I was charged with a burglary with assault at the time, and then at the same time, I violated the probation from the racketeering, trafficking, excess of 400 grams and all that. So each charge separately carried a life sentence. So I'm here facing 2 life sentences for a crime that I didn't commit, which violated the one, that I did commit. So at the time, I was placed in a cell at the Stockade, and I had a few dudes in there, and the cell was like a Christian cell. They have cells like that every now and then in the county jails. You got some dudes will build up a group and they'll go to, ministering and stuff. But the thing that was funny, that it was a dude in there that I know, what I call like a jailhouse friend. Y'all know about that. The ones that you never see on the street. You always see him in jail. And, I knew this dude, he smoked crack. And every time I see him, he in jail, he preaching. But but everybody know, I felt like he was being a hypocrite. And I always had this thing about me, about God, that I couldn't take it coming from anybody. I had to hear it from somebody that I trusted. If I heard it from somebody and seen him make one bad move, I'm done with him, or her, whoever it was. So, and I was always a person to want to know, why is this and why is that? I got a million questions, but nobody got the answers. So at this time, I go in this cell, and they having Bible study every night, 2-3 times, and I never attended. Being that I know I didn't commit this crime, and I'm like, wow, man, I'm facing 2 life sentences. I'm calling home. My family's stressing. My mom, like, son, And the bottom line, they saying, if I tell on my friend, then this can all go away. But, from the code, from the streets, that's a no-no. My mindset was, hey, man, if I fall like this, then that's how it was meant. I chose the game, and this came with it. You know what I'm saying? Even if I did commit the crime. You know what I'm saying? This came with it, so I was really ready to accept it. But at the time, I'm like, but as time going by, I'm like, bro, I can't see no way out of this, really, And I finally turned to God, man. I started remembering all the things Grandma talked about Jesus, and so I got on my knees, and I slept in the back, way in the back. So I was kind of a little shy about that too, because I'm a gangster. Everybody they see you praying, went a little soft.
Yeah.
So I got on my knees, and
What about the time when they say now you want to turn to God because you're in trouble?
Pretty much. That's basically, what I'm saying? That's everybody's story.
Right.
So I'm not different. So I finally, I got on my knees, man, and I spoke. I said, God, listen, I don't really know you. I know nothing about you. All I know is what Grandma say, the little sayings that she say, But if you're a real God, man, I didn't commit this crime, man. I don't deserve to spend my life in prison, man, because I knew, even though I was out there doing wrong, I'm not a bad person. I was doing bad things. You know what I'm saying? Because if you take me through my neighborhood right now, I can walk and knock on any old lady door, and they'll let me in with a hug and a smile. So that's why I knew I wasn't a bad person, because people that didn't know what I was doing still love me. So I asked God, if you real, man, you got to show me. And, if you show me, then I know you real. Wow, why did I do that? All kind of things went to unfolding. Like a week later, my lawyer contacted me. He come to visit me. And I didn't want to go out, because the last time they came and said, hey, it's a lawyer visit, it was the detectives. So I'm like, man, I'm not going out there, man. Last time you told me that, it was the detectives. He said, nah, man. I said, well, what'd he look like? And then he described, and I said, okay, that's my lawyer. I go out there, and he like, hey, man, this is what I got for you. Tell me what's wrong with this paper. He showed me a copy of the affidavit for the violation of probation. And I looked at it, all I seen, it didn't have a judge signature on it. I said, well, all I see, it don't have a judge signature because I didn't really know what he wanted me to see. Then he said, well, look at this one. He showed me another one. The other one had a stamp on it. I said, okay, this one don't have the same stamp that one got. He said, that stamp is the make the violation secure. I say, he said that if the courts was to stamp this today, you know what I'm saying, you could still be violated. But he said, now, when do you get off? I said, I got off, my probation ended like a month ago. He said, you sure? I said, yeah. And I was in here for 4 months, and it ended because I was almost off. Then he said, well, man, I think I got a case for you, man. We can get the probation thrown out. That's number one. Now, that's because he's saying that the affidavit was never stamped, being that it wasn't stamped, it wasn't legit in the courts. And the whoever it was, the clerk, the judge called him. He said, who did this? He said, the clerk said, get him in the courtroom. We waited for him. He got in there, he said, man, what's wrong with this paper? He said, oh, it doesn't have a stamp on it. He said, you did this violation, right? He see his signature, yes, sir. He said, you failed to stamp it. He said, this violation is no good. He said, time ticked out last month. So
Amen.
The violation is over. That's one life sentence down. So now, the funny part is this one. The second case, I didn't do this crime like I'm telling y'all, but I went to Disney World. I took my family to Disney World, and we took pictures. I had braids in my hair at the time, and then boom, I asked my girl at the time, hey man, I need you to re-braid my hair because I'm gonna go renew my license on the 14th of January. And she was like, okay, and she was pregnant at the time, so she took it out the night before. And you take braids out, it just stand up. I ain't comb it or nothing. I just left it like that. So I wake up the next morning, come on, baby, do my hair so I can go to take my license picture. She said she wasn't feeling good. So I'm like, man, what you mean? I gotta go take this picture. Baby, I ain't feeling good. Man, whatever, I go take the license picture with my hair standing up like this. So not knowing, that was God work already. So boom, I go, and I ask her, while I'm locked up. Now this happened before that. So while I'm sitting, I'm like, baby, check for my license, because I know I took the license picture after we came back. Now once I received, it took me 4 months to receive the paperwork explaining, the what they call it, the discovery. The discovery, they show everything they got against you, what you being charged with, and why you being charged. So when I read it, it said that the man that robbed the lady had low cropped hair. At the time, I didn't know what that meant. I'm like, hey, bro, what crop? Low crop. They like, low enough to see the scalp, like a low boy. I said, oh, okay. But then I tell my lawyer this, I had braids. I got pictures with braids. But he said, man, that could be mistaken for low crop. But this before I remember the license. Then God put it in my head, go think about your license, get the license. I said, babe, where my license at? She said, it's in the drawer. Now, I'm reading the paperwork. The lady got robbed January 6th of 2001, something like that. Mm-hmm. And no, January 6, 2000. Okay, I took the license picture January 14th, 2000. So my girl come back with the license. She said, yeah, baby, I got the license, but it say January 14th. I said, that's perfect, because the lady that got robbed, she said the dude had low crop hair. I got a full head of hair 8 days after the robbery. So she was like, I said, okay, you bring it in. I gave it to the lawyer. So now we here in the hearing. And it's so bad that this lady really don't know me. But when she coming in the court, when my mom coming in the court, she see these guys telling the lady, you see the guy right there with the sweater, blah, blah, blah. But she paid it no mind. So when we in there, they asked the lady on the stand, do you recognize the man in here that robbed you? She said, yes. The guy right there with the gray sweater. My mom screamed, what? She lied. I just seen them. I said, calm down, mama. Just calm down, because we all right. You know what I'm saying? This is just the beginning. Let her do her thing. But my lawyer was like, well, how could you recognize? I find it hard for you to just recognize this guy after like 8 months. He got a full head of hair, a full beard, and you said the guy that robbed you was clean shaven, low crop. I mean, you ain't had no help identifying him? And she was talking really good. She was like, well, no, I understand. I know that people try to change their identity when they commit crimes and blah, blah, blah. So long story short, So when the lawyer rested, the state spoke again. Then my lawyer said, Your Honor, my last thing is Exhibit A. Boom, he put out the license, gave it to the judge. He said, this is a valid Florida driver license. My client took this, renewed his license on January 14, 2000, which is 8 days after the initial robbery, which took place January 6th. And I want you to pay attention to his hair, Your Honor. So the judge looked at it. But now, before the judge got it, my lawyer passing it to him, and the state prosecutor asked my lawyer, let me see it. She looked at it, and she looked at the detectives like, and why she giving it to the judge? So the judge got it, and they got the little reflection thing on it. He did it like this. He said, well, this is a valid Florida driver license, state. What we gonna do from here? Well, Your Honor, I understand. I know that these days, the people that got machines to make IDs, and I want to be sure. You know what I'm saying? Give me 2 weeks, because I know my superiors are not gonna accept this. He told her, look, the only way your superiors your superiors are gonna have to accept this, because this man has over 8 inches of hair on his head. 8 days after the initial robbery, the only way he could have grew hair like that is he had to be a chia pet. And that's what the judge said in open court. And everybody laughed. And she was like, okay, well, give me the 2 weeks. He said, all right, I'm gonna give you the 2 weeks. So when she walked out the court, when he left, everybody was gone except me, the prosecutor lady, and a public defender. And I was trying to talk to her. I said, Miss Michelle, can I speak to you? And by law, the prosecutor can't talk to you unless you're a state witness. So she was like, I can't talk to you. So she told the public defender guy, hey, man, go see what he want. And then when the guy came, he was like, man, look, tell Miss Michelle, man, she seen my family here. My son, he was 1 month old when I left the street. He's 9 months now. You know what I'm saying? In 2 weeks, anything can happen. I can die in here. I can lose a family member. You know what I'm saying? And I tell her, she's seen the evidence. She know it's not me. Don't make me suffer for 2 more weeks just waiting on that. When the DMV open tomorrow, we can do this week. He go back over there, and he in her ear while he talking to her, she's staring at me. And I'm just looking and waiting. And then she was like, okay, I'll call tomorrow. I said, all right, thank you. I end up getting out. Boom. God was good to me. But I went to church. I got out. I went to church that Sunday with my sister. That one time, to me, in my mind, that was enough. Okay, I thank God for what he did for me. Go back on to what I was doing. I went right back out there. After God did all that work for me, man, and I seen his work, I asked him for it, and he showed me, asked him to show me, and he showed me. And I went right back out there and went to church one time and went right back in the street. But I was a little hesitant this time. I wasn't full-fledged. Kind of grew a conscience in that little point there. So now I was kind of skeptical. I started spending more time with my kids, and then I tried to give it up. I said, okay, then I'm done. I tried it on the streets. I had a business going. I had a meat market. I was, I said, okay, I'm going to spend more time at the meat market and stray away from the little drug life. Mm-hmm. The devil knocked on my door one day. I've been away from it for like 3 months. And now the girl who I was with had family in Indiana, and he was coming down. He was coming to buy drugs from somebody else. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have it. And he came knock on my door. I'm thinking it's a regular visit, that they just coming down to see it, because her dad was married, her mom was married to his dad. So, we talking, and I speak to him, and he like, man, I need to holler at you. I go outside with him for a minute, and he hit me with it. Look, man, I came down, my people ain't got what I'm looking for, man. And, her mom told me maybe you could help me just this one time. So my greed kicked in when he told me. I said, well, what you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for a half, man. I said, what you paying? He said he paying $9,000 or something like that.
And when you mean a half?
Yeah,
a half a kilo. He was looking for a half a kilo of cocaine. And at the time, I think he said he was paying $18,000 for the half a kilo. That's when my greed kicked in. And because down our way, you was paying almost $18 for the whole thing. And my greed kicked in. Well, I could make a few dollars. I could do this one time, and I could be done. Okay, boom, I do it. Give him the one. Next thing you know, who called me again a couple of months later? Man, I need you one more time. My greed, I know I'm finna make this $7,000 cushion. Okay, boom, I'm gonna do it again one more time. And then from that, a friend got out of jail. Hey, man, I need a little help. Now, my thing was from the beginning, I'm gonna buy this one, sell him the half, and sell him the other half later, and I'm done. Friend get out, man, and everybody heard I was doing good. Man, break me off something, dog, let me come up.
Now, how much time had passed by between this time that you're out of jail and now you're doing good and all of this transaction is going?
3 to 4 months after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, you know, the devil ain't give me a long break. He got right back on me. Okay. That was like a 3-4 month span. Then like a couple of months after the second time he came, before he came the second time, what I was supposed to have been holding, one of my friends got out, man, break me off, dog. You know, everybody's straight, I ain't eating. I give him a kilo of that half. And then, you know, he was doing this thing. And then I end up going to pick up some money from him. And at the same time, I had another quarter key. And I end up selling that, gonna give him that quarter key so he could keep selling it. I have really fronted him the first quarter to give me one back, give me the money, and I'll give you another one. Man, he called me that morning. He said, bro, I got 4,000 of the money, or 5, I think it was, and 4, and he's supposed to give me the rest. I said, well, just call me when you get the rest. He called me right back like 15 minutes later. Yeah, but I got the rest. All right, I'm on my way. I put the other one in my pocket, I drive, and when I get there, he already arrested. So happened, somebody came and bought drugs from him while I'm on the highway. I live a long way, so I'm on the way. Somebody came and bought drugs from him from the police, gave it to the police. This is where I got it from. The police in his apartment.
Wow.
So I pull up. Now, there's 2 females at this gate before I can go in. One female I recognize from the building. She lived there. The other one I don't know. I try to go in between them like, excuse me. And the lady like, hold on, you can't go on right now. When she turned around, she the police. I was like, wow. Then she seen the bulge in my pocket. And from there, everything went haywire. That was October 23rd, 2001. I ended up going to jail that day. All of us went to jail. Me, the dudes was in the house, all of us. And they put us together. And you know what I'm saying? The first thing he like, B, man, you know it wasn't like that. You know, because it seemed bad because once he called me, soon as he called me back and told me to come again, you know, it looked like he set me up.
Right.
But, you know, I know him, you know, me and him growed up from kids. That didn't never cross my mind that he set me up.
Let me ask you this before you go any further. Mm-hmm. So we're now probably about 90 days, 120 days out since your last arrest. Did you ever hear that voice?
Well, at that time, no. Because I was still, you know, and I can't say, I don't know if I heard a voice, but I had you know, something in me like, man, you say you gonna chill. You know, I had like a conscience that telling me, hey, man, you say, and then I'm fighting with that. I'm having them same struggles that we all have, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, then I feel like I could do a little bit. I ain't going full-fledged, you know, but it's the same thing. Because all it takes is you get caught with one.
There's a saying, let your conscience be your guide. And at this point, you're about to be, you are arrested now. What is your conscience saying to you?
You talking back, we talking about after I got out and did all this and went back to that second arrest? The day I got caught. Yeah. Right. Okay, once I got arrested, you know, I didn't really think it won't be major because it was only 9 ounces of cocaine. So I felt like, okay, you know, I ain't that bad. And then, you know, but at the same time, I knew I had to messed up somewhere along the line because I had done, gave my life to Christ and went back and just did everything that I said I wasn't gonna do, you know, so I felt that, you know, this time I might be in a little trouble. So I end up, you know, going to court, back and forth for 4 years, and then I finally got found guilty of trafficking cocaine for the 9 ounces of cocaine, 250 grams, and then I had sentencing. The day I went to sentencing, it was kind of funny because I sat in there, you know, and, you know, I was in the red jumper, so normally I go to court by myself. I know no one else in there. But this day they had everybody there, all the people that's being arraigned, you know, and then, you know, they called my name. I stood up and the judge say, you here today for sentencing, you understand? I was like, yes, ma'am. And she said, okay, I sentence you to 40 years. What, a 15-year, man. When she said 40 years, I just went blank after that. I ain't kind of hear the rest of it. I'm like, 40 years for 9 ounces? I'm saying to myself, 40 years for 9 ounces of cocaine? You know, I was kind of thrown. I'm like,
why do you think she gave you such a harsh sentence?
Well, at the time, I didn't know. Now I know. I know that that's what, I'm one of God's children. I'm one of his hard-headed kids. You know what I'm saying? And he had to show enough, put the big belt on me to let me understand, like, hey, man, I got something better for you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to tighten up. Once I received that sentence, so, you know, sometimes people go, you're going to either spiral off and go all the way out, or you're going to try to, you know what I'm saying, tighten up. I kind of spiraled. I went to, okay, what the heck with it? I'm going to go sell me some dope in here. I'm going to get me some money. I'm back at it, full-fledged.
And this is in prison.
This is in prison, yeah. And then, you know, and I done went from being known as the Rolex bandit to the jailhouse kingpin, the prison kingpin. Now I got a whole nother thing that done came that I'm driving on, another momentum done picked up on this now.
You're in prison. Something happened where you changed. What happened?
Well, after like 14 years later, well, I can't say I met my wife. We been knew each other for years. And like I told you, I had issues with trusting anybody else, just anybody teaching me about God. And I knew her for a long time, for over 20 years almost, and we were just friends. And, you know, she was the one that came to me and started, you know, throwing little stuff at me here, a little scripture. Read this tonight, baby. Read that, you know. And that's when I started to realize, like, okay, you know, there's some truth in this stuff. You know, God is real. You know what I'm saying? And then he already done showed me before. I don't know how I brushed that off. And I'd have been trying everything else, man. I done spent all my money on lawyers. I done tried everything but God. And I say, man, I got to give God a shot, man. Because that was kind of like the saying back then. If you done tried everything else, you know it's time to give God a try. And so I gave him a try. And so I'm here today, man, because of his grace.
So what happened to the sentence?
Well, now, after the sentence, I was paying appeal lawyers, I was doing whatever, and it's funny because out of all the money I spent, nothing happened. And she taught me about fasting. She said, baby, you ever tried fasting? And I'm like, nah. She said, well, you know, try it. Read up on it and start fasting a little bit and ask God for what you want. And you know what I'm saying? And he'll deliver. You know, I went to fast and I had, you know, my case was kind of mixed up because I got transferred and things were tight. So I fasted and prayed and fasted and prayed. The next thing you know, I get some great news. I'm like, wow, baby, I'm going to be able to go back to court. You know what I'm saying? She like, I told you, just keep on. Keep fasting and praying and stay in your word. Read. You know what I'm saying? And I told her, well, keep sending me stuff. Like I told you, I got a million questions. Every time she sent me a scripture, I'm like, well, why is this and why is that? And, you know, she had the answers for me. And I started to feel a little more comfortable, you know what I'm saying, accepting God and accepting that, you know, what he want me to do. You know, and I started feeling like, okay, I got a better purpose. This is not it. And in them last 3 years, man, I stepped out on faith and I stopped selling the drugs because my main thing was how I'm going to feed my kids and how I'm going to help do this. So she told me, babe, you got to step out on faith. Just give it a try. And, you know, I ain't want to hear that. I'm telling her, man, faith ain't going to feed my kids. So boom, I tried. I stepped out on faith and I talked to my kids because they was old enough to know now, they teenagers. And I look, man, I ain't gonna be sending no more Christmas gifts and all that. I'm not selling drugs no more, blah, blah, blah. And my kids told me they understood. And that was like the best part. When they say they understood, because that's what my reason was, okay, I got to take care of them, but really they okay, you know? And then that's when God came into my life and I realized, like, hey, man, you know, when things started to unfold, they gave me a public defender to hear my appeal. The public defender won the appeal. Then they sent me back to the county jail for court. I didn't have no money for a lawyer. The courts appointed me another public defender. And between these two public defenders and the judge, Miss Veronica Diaz, man, a wonderful judge, man. She know what judging all about. She looked at me and when I sat in that courtroom, she heard my story. She heard my past. The prosecutor told them about crimes I committed, probably when I was 3 if I did. She had everything, you know, and the judge, look, she turned her chair around and she looked me in my face and she said, look, and she drilled me for about an hour, and I'm not exaggerating. She like, you understand the risk that I will be taking if I let you out here on these streets and you harm somebody. Do you know the headlines will be Judge Veronica Diaz let this guy out, he killed someone. You know that you know I'm putting my whole livelihood on at risk for you. And she said, I believe you're a changed man. I believe you're a good man because after all this time, there's no way all these people going to appear for you in court if you weren't a good person. So I think you deserve another chance. And I'm going to give you that chance. But if you blow it, you're going to die in prison. Do you hear me? She said, repeat after me. You're going to die in prison. And she made me say it. You're going to die. I'm going to die in prison if I don't get right this time. But the thing is, my change kind of came from the inside because I was ridding myself of the things that excited me didn't excite me anymore. As far as the wrong, the drugs, and it didn't excite me anymore. And then when I came home, man, my wife had a nice home prepared for me. You know, my kids all came back around, and her kids accepted me. And then, you know, everything has been beautiful since then. And in 2017, you know, my wife founded the Rehabilitation Through Christ prison ministry. And through there, we try to help the dudes that's getting out like me. You know what I'm saying? Me and you, the ones that's coming home and don't have nowhere, don't know how to fill out an application. You know, and like some of the problems I had, well, I try to implement them into that. Baby, this is one of the problems I had. This one I had, and we trying to build something and try to do something, man, to make a difference.
I love that. I hope that our listeners really take in that last part you said about fasting and praying, right?
Powerful.
The Bible tells us that some of these things, they won't happen or come out by only prayer. The Bible tells us to fast and pray. And then you begin to see the miraculous change. I noticed that there's a pattern in our conversion, and it's usually how much we reject God. And God is always calling us to be something greater. And we still want to be sitting in the miry muck in the clay. And I thank you for that. And so that our viewers know, I was incarcerated with him at Okeechobee. I did 10 years, and I stayed away from him because of his lifestyle and his behavior. God has brought us back together, and I'm glad, and I commend you for the work that you're doing, and I hope that we together can do good work for the foundation and everything, all your endeavors in Miami. I know that you're working with kids also. You left that out.
Yeah.
You're coaching
Little League, Pop Warner football. We made it to the Super Bowl. We lost 18-6, but we was there. You know, we did what we were supposed to do. And I'm continuing with them. That's who I want to reach. I want to reach the youth, man. I want to try to get them before they lose the innocence like we did. You know, once you start stealing, and, you know, I want to try to get them before that and show them, hey, it's something better before that, because I try to think back to all the times where it's that I felt it wasn't nothing else, but we got to give them something else.
Man, a life of service.
Exactly.
Life of service.
It's interesting you say that, because here shortly, there's going to be some youth that are going to be tuning into these podcasts. So I want you to look in the camera and speak to those youth that are sitting in juvenile facilities, 13, 14, and 15 years old. What would you say to them?
To y'all, what I would say, man, young man, you got an opportunity to be anything you want to be in your life. You know what I'm saying? Once you choose the streets, it's hard to come right back from that. So what I would say, man, is you guys got to stay strong, develop some kind of relationship with God. That's the start. That's number one. You got to have a relationship with God. If you don't have a relationship with God, things ain't going to go the way you think they're going to go. That's number one. And once you do that, and then, you got to try to, hang around more positive people. And if the people you ain't around not positive, you be that positive force. You know what I'm saying? You can be positive and run all the bad ones away if you being positive. You understand? So, and another thing about my other brothers, all you ones in Florida prisons that know me. Now, y'all know who the person that I was. And walking through them institutions, you have some of them that know me from the streets. I want y'all to see, man, God's work, man. He changed me, man. I know he could change you.
You have been listening to the Death or Prison podcast, brought to you by leanonmeusa.org. I am Johnny Branham. To my right, Mr. Elmo Golden. And to my left, our distinguished guest, Anthony Smith. Now, this is the Death or Prison podcast, but we say, choose life.
One boy and girl, maybe we can change the world.